Welcome once more to the Magic Morning Wood. It's me, Clive Davis, and my co-host, the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller. Who's that then? Someone who we can't hear because your mic isn't on.
Yeah, no, yours was not. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's start again. Right.
No. That's it. That's good. So, you had your chance.
No, no, mine was working, but yours was not. Anyway, so
Um. Anyway, talking some films, aren't we, Ron? Because that's what we do.
all right. Yep.
Yep. And
Welcome. Yep.
we are we are responding to Mate One, right? Is the last thing we talked about.
Right. Yep.
So my connection is coal mining.
Right.
So I decided to go for the film Blind Shaft, in which a visually impaired Richard Roundtree is a sex machine to all the chicks.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it was a good thing that you sent me the link because I may have chosen the wrong version of this movie.
Right.
I think it was
Yes.
the fetish porn version.
Yes, you could have got into a lot of trouble,
Yeah.
especially if you were watching it, on the train or something.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I
But
you've got me in
ha
trouble for that
ha
with that
ha ha
before.
ha! We're just being funny.
How
Actually,
many times has that happened where I've gotten in trouble by watching something you maybe watch on the train and I was like, crap.
once again, it's not my responsibility. I must. What do people write? NSFW. Is that's a thing, isn't it?
Not safe for work, yes. Not safe
Yeah,
for work, yeah.
but I just you
NSFT,
just
not safe for trains.
I think you just take it for granted that anything I send you is not suitable for human consumption in general, right? So
Yeah, that's true.
so yes, we're talking Blind Shaft, a film I assume you haven't seen before, Ron,
No,
from 2003,
I
a
had not.
Chinese film. And very, very simple story. So we'll get that out the way. Basically, you got a couple of dudes. When one being Li Yixiang, the other one Wang Shuangbao, and they're not they're not very nice people, are they? They
No.
they're coal miners who we see in the opening scene kind of befriend younger people, kill them and stage like a cave in and then claim that the person was, their relative in some way or another, or one of them does. And then they get some money out of the company because the only people kind of, I mean, human life is pretty worthless in this film, right? And the only people more
Mm.
despicable than our leads are the companies who run the mines, right? Like they
Because they run
clearly
them,
don't
yes.
give a shit. They don't want an
Yeah.
investigation. They don't want the family coming. They will pay you off. I mean, they'll still haggle as well to a certain extent, but
Yeah.
basically,
And then still undercut you even in the yeah. So like the
yes,
one thing they had got like 40,000, then got them down to only give them 28, and they're like, this is 28. It's like, just take it.
yeah, a lot of bullying. Um, and then these guys just move on to another mine, and yes, and they find a fresh
Repeat.
mark.
Hmm.
Uh, Wang Bao Chang is the fresh mark, who now is kind of quite famous in mainland China. He's very recognized. He still has that kind of very
Hmm.
young look about him, right? He looks very kind of
Young innocent,
vulnerable.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfectly cast for this film. Um, it's very much in the kind of docudrama thing. There's no music. It's all,
Mm.
handheld. It looks
Very
very
gritty,
cinema, verite,
realistic. Yeah.
gritty,
Mm.
real looking, real locations. Quite interesting if you're interested at all in um modern Chinese cities that aren't Beijing or
Mm.
Shanghai, right? You want to see what
Mm.
cities are like. So it's quite an interesting little window. Of course, incredibly controversial in China. I don't know if you can
Mm.
actually see this film in China. Um,
Oh yeah, I can. I was wondering about that because I feel like it was like didn't seem like your typical Chinese fare, especially from 20 years ago. So, you know,
yeah. I think it comes from
yeah.
that little window. I mean, China's, it kind of opens up a bit every now and again, and then shuts down again, and opens
Mm.
up and shuts down. So I think it might
Mm.
come in that slight. window of time where you could kind of just about get away with stuff, right?
Right, right.
Apparently based on a novel by Liu Chin Bang, which I don't think has ever been translated. I've never read it. I would like to read it if it became available. And directed by this guy Li Yang,
Mm.
who later went on to make another film called Blind Mountain in 2007, and there was another one about a decade later called Blind Way. I've not seen Blind Way yet, but Blind Mountain,
Are they connected?
just the blind or Mang or Meng part of the title. They're
Mm.
unrelated stories. But Blind Mountain, I remember actually being even better than this one.
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, first saw this when it was relatively new. Thought very impressed by it. Rewatching it now, I think I'm even more impressed with it now. I have to say, I think this
Mm.
film I've never attempted to put, but if now because we're in 2025, people are making lists of like the best films of the first 25 years of the 21st
Mm.
century or whatever. I think I was
Right.
I was going to put one together. I think this might be a contender for the list, right?
Oh, really?
I think this film's a phenomenal piece of work. Just
I was more surprised that you're making one of those lists.
well, I'm not, but if I were to, I
Oh, okay.
might.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Perfectly nice little ironic ending. And what I really like about it as well, I suppose, is great performances. But what I really like about it is watching it this time. I was looking at it and I was thinking, fuck, there's a lot of stuff in this movie which is just really well captured, like in terms of the camera work and stuff, but very non-show
Mm.
offy, right? Like,
Mm.
so sometimes things are very the cameras glide or whatever, and and you watch and you go
Mm.
whatever. But there's a lot of stuff like the cameras pointing like in like mirrors and reflecting surfaces, and you never see the camera crew, right? Like that
Mm.
stuff's not easy to do, but it feels very
Right.
organic. It feels like not, like I said, not show offy, but just yeah, real sense of place. You're there in these places
Mm.
with these two guys going into like dives and brothels and stuff, and just crawling the streets. And no, I found it totally immersive, and yeah, one of the best films of the 21st century, let's say, maybe. Um,
Mm.
what did you make of it, Ron?
Yeah, I would say I surprisingly liked this movie a lot. So I didn't when I started, I was like, I wasn't sure. I'm always a little bit hesitant with everything you give me. So I was having my shields up when I start.
Right, right.
But yeah, it was I was quite surprised how much I really enjoyed this film. It was really yeah, as you said, it was uh yeah, the whole idea with like the looking in mirrors and stuff like that, and like a lot of small spaces and stuff like that, like it makes you feel very kind of like you said, cinema verite, like you're just that it's actually just you in the room with them,
Right,
kind of thing, right?
right.
So yeah, so that you're there because yeah, you don't see the camera in any of the mirrors and stuff like that, but it's quite small spaces too, right? Like
Yes.
you're in like the brothel, or you're in the whatever's with them. So
We're in the mine as
yeah,
well.
and even
It's all
in the
it's all
shaft,
real
yeah, too, in the mine
locations
shaft,
down in
yeah.
the mine,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, the only time that I found it that it didn't work was kind of like, for example, in the climax, where it was just so dark I couldn't actually tell what was happening. So I had to watch the ending twice because I was like, what actually happened? Because I couldn't see it. So which I think in some ways worked together, but it might have just been the format I was watching in, or
Yes, as far as I know, there's
the
no
quality of the files.
HD of this one, I don't think. Like I
Yeah,
said,
right, yeah.
might
So.
be problematic to
Mhm.
try and get to the elements now, and yeah.
Sure, yeah, yeah. But yeah, otherwise it was very like yeah, like some of the images really stay with you, like when they killed that first guy, and they kind of they convinced um the mine owner to give him money, and so they get the money and then they leave, and they're walking out, and they're carrying the guy's ashes, and they
Yeah,
just walk, and they just toss it
yeah,
in the garbage as they're
yeah.
walking, right? So like
Well, worse than that,
it's
just
very like
before they chuck it away,
yeah.
they throw the ashes down the toilet, don't they? They flush them
Oh yeah,
away,
yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah,
later
yeah.
on
That's
they
right.
just
Yeah.
chuck this. Like, wow, these guys don't
Oh,
give a fuck,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Really, yeah. So, and then yeah, that one line that stays with you, which is like the only thing China doesn't have a shortage of his people or something, isn't it? Isn't that one line? Yeah, something
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, it's quite, I mean, quite an interesting take on the serial killer kind of theme that I've never seen one quite like that. And
That's
but
interesting that you mentioned that. I never, until you said that now, I've
mm,
never considered this film in that in that category. But you're quite
mm,
right, it is. And now that you say it out loud, it's not a million miles away. You don't see as many people die, but the relationship is a bit like Henry and Otis in Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer,
mm,
right?
sure, yeah,
But
yeah, or
I'd
yeah.
never thought of this film as a serial killer film. But yes, you're quite
Mm.
right. It is.
But
Yeah.
they are, yeah, they
Yeah.
are, right?
Yeah.
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 So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not really. It's not like a traditional serial killer movie where you
No.
follow the killer or the people trying to catch him. But at the same time, that's what they are, and so you're just seeing them kind of at the end of the second to last one, and then into their last one, right? Kind of
Right.
thing. So,
Right.
and of course, only to be confounded by this kid who is just too good, right? And so then
Yeah.
the one guy, Li Yishang, I guess whatever
Yeah. That's the
he
younger
sort of
one who pretends to be his
younger
uncle.
one,
Yeah.
yeah, who kind of starts to kind of like feel for the kid a little bit and kind of have a little bit of like take him under his wing and keeps putting, well, let's do it, let's wait another day or let's wait a couple more days
Yeah.
and let's get him, let him lose his virginity before we kill him, and then we'll
Yeah.
kill him, but
Yeah. It's
like
quite funny, isn't it? It's quite
let's get him drunk
blackly
and then we'll
comic.
kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always
Yeah,
finding an excuse, isn't he? That
yeah,
brothel scene is quite funny as well. There's like because the kid finds it quite traumatic, and he comes out on
yeah,
the street, and the older guy he says to him, "Why the fuck aren't you happy? Like I spent all this money on you." Like,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah, no,
But yeah, it was.
it's a great character film as well, and
Mm, mm.
and I suppose social commentary, right? Which is
Yeah, yeah, very,
yeah,
very. It's got to be really. I'm sure. I mean, not being Chinese or having you have been to China, I'm sure there's a lot of biting satire that probably even goes over our heads, which probably are
yes,
it
yes.
probably cuts to the heart of Chinese society. I think there, right? So,
It
um,
feels very authentic to me as well. It feels like
mm,
I might have even read around it when it first came out. I seem to remember it might kind of be vaguely based on, real incidents, So it's not a
right. I mean,
far-fetched
yeah.
story at all.
I can imagine. I can imagine that it's probably something that probably does or has or is still happening, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah. So, but
yeah,
because I feel like that subsection of society is really just sort of like forgotten and not really thought about at
yeah,
all, right? So, yeah. So especially around there.
yeah.
So,
Well, like they say
mhm,
at a certain point, China's huge and we don't have a shortage of people. And it is
mm,
something people, again, I've never been, but something people forget, I think, nowadays that they forget, like, because, there's all this talk of, China in some ways being the country of the future, and there's places,
mm,
building these massive theme parks and whole
mm,
apartment complexes around them, and
mm,
like, but then there's other parts that really haven't changed in decades and
mm.
decades and decades, and it doesn't look like they're going to for a. It's going to
Sure.
take a while for it to spread out to all the
Yeah.
provinces, right?
Sure. Yeah. 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 Yeah, but it was really real refreshing piece of cinema. I thought it was yeah, like really like really absorbing, even when they're just going through like the minutia of their life,
Mm,
what I mean? They just like, okay, now they're just playing cards, now they're just walking down the street, now they're just having a meal, stuff like, but you're still like, like you're kind of almost on the edge of the seat, like what's gonna happen? Are
yeah,
they gonna kill
yeah,
him? Or
yeah.
like, yeah, so it's yeah, so it was I will say that I think the ending was a little too might be you said it was ironic, but I'd say in some ways it was a little too kind of nicely wrapped up. I think it was a little bit
Maybe,
too like
maybe.
yeah.
I
So
just
I
like
think
the
it
whole final image
yeah.
of him looking up at the chimney and the smoke, and just like, you know,
Yeah, that was nice, yeah.
yeah,
But like the actual like the both of them just I mean I get it, I like that they kind of started turning on each other, but then it wasn't quite, again it was too so dark that it wasn't quite clear to me that both of them were in
right,
the
right.
explosion until I had to go back and watch it. I was like, oh, it must have been both of them. So yeah, so that I thought could have been handled a little bit better, but other than that, I thought it was very like
Yeah.
minor gripe. So yeah, so
No, it's funny you were saying about the
mm.
small things as well. Yeah, there's like one thing. This is a silly small thing, but it just say like there's a scene where they're walking through this square. It's just like a large square, and clearly there's cars passing, and I'm looking at this square and I'm thinking, wow, what are the rules here? Like there's no lanes,
Yeah,
or and
yeah,
cars were
yeah.
coming in like vertically and
Yeah,
then across, and I was thinking that
yeah.
square looks like a nightmare to drive through. Like
I think
what's
that's actually a lot of countries are like that. I think, probably,
maybe?
I'm sure like people, like India and like all those kind of like
Well, India's
I
mad.
think a lot of
I've
countries
been
like
there.
that.
I know
I
that
think they're all
driving there is
I think
insane.
they're all kind of a lot of the countries are like that. So yeah. So well, of course we live in the country of stay in your lane, right?
We live in the
So
regimented. Yeah, driving in Tokyo is a whole
yeah,
different thing. Driving in Tokyo is like,
sure.
oh, you missed your exit. Well, good. Have to wait another half hour before you can
Half hour
find
before you
another
can
one to
go
turn
anywhere else.
around.
So,
And yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but yeah, whereas trying to just drive over the median, right? And you
yeah,
around.
yeah. Because I
Yeah.
learned to drive here, so I kind of forget. I remember driving with someone else in the car with me one time, and they were like, "How the fuck do you drive here? Like, how do you know where to go? Like, there's just everything's so tightly like you have
Mm.
to be in the right place." And but I get
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been regimented to do that. So
Right. Long enough. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Do you drive a lot? I know you do
recently I
drive,
haven't
but
so much because we haven't been able to go out. But yeah, we go for like day trips. And almost every day I drive like a short distance, like pick the wife up from work or to the supermarket and stuff like that. But I don't do
haven't been
long
able to go out.
driving
Why?
every day.
Why haven't you been able to go out?
Oh, just we haven't been in great health for traveling recently as a couple.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Right. Okay. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Um. Yeah.
Um.
No. Blind Shaft. It's
Yeah.
a good
So
one.
yeah.
I think.
So the one last thing you said that this would be on your top 25 list.
Well, I don't know
But you
if
said
I
that Blind Mountain was better.
yes, Blind Mountain is even better from memory.
Hmm.
So they might both be on the list. I don't know.
They're both on this. How about what was the third one called? Blind
Blind Way, I haven't seen yet. In
Way.
fact, I only found out about it when I was rewatching it. I was thinking, fuck, I wonder has he done anything else since? And yeah, lo and behold, there's one
Mm,
more. So I'll be watching that
mm.
quite soon, I think, because apparently it's good as
Okay.
well. But a bit more of I think
Mm,
I like a crime. Well, I suppose this is a crime film, and Blind Mountain is a
mm,
kind of crime film as well, but slightly closer to a generic crime film from what I read. So I'm interested to
mm,
see how Lee Yang does a slightly more generic kind of crime drama.
right.
Um,
Mm,
I shall let you know, but certainly Blind Mountain
mhm.
is yeah. If you like Blind Shaft, then
Worth a look.
Blind Mountain is definitely one you should catch up with.
Worth a look. Okay.
Um,
Cool. Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
there we go then. I'm glad you liked it because I was fairly
Mm.
confident because I know sometimes some things rub you the wrong way, but this one I just felt like how could anyone like who really likes good cinema watch this and not
Yeah. Have a
appreciate
problem
it
with
on
this.
some
Yeah. Yeah.
level, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I went in reluctant, but I was like, oh, like about 5 minutes. I was like, okay, this is gonna be fine. I'm gonna be okay with this movie. So
Right.
yeah. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Nice one. Good choice.
Right. Okay. And what did you choose and how did we get there?
And so I went through the actress Mary McDonnell,
Who was
who
in Make
played
One?
is it Maid One? Yeah, so who played like the kind of the tough matron who like rented the room to Chris Cooper, right?
Right. Right.
And kind of a love interest, I guess.
Yeah. Is she someone
Yeah,
in general you're very familiar with?
I knew her, and and actually I knew her from this movie that I chose, kind of thing. But I know I've seen her in around. I've seen her in
Yeah,
in
that's the
several
same
movies.
feeling I had when
She's
you
one of
said
those kind of movies that
yeah, when you said
she's
oh
kind of one of those actors that kind of is like, oh yeah, it's that lady from The
yes,
Thing, right?
yeah. Because when
So
you
yeah,
chose
she's
I was which one was she again? And then I saw and I was like, oh yeah, I remember in this and same as you. Oh yeah, I've seen her around and she's always solid, but for some reason I've never really
mm,
paid attention for whatever reason.
right. Yeah, so she was in like a couple shows that I watched too, because I'm more of a TV person than you are. So she was in like Battlestar Galactica and the reboots,
Oh,
the newer
really?
one. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and she was also in Fargo, the TV show, and
Okay.
she was in like the Scream 4, kind of stuff like that. So maybe stuff that maybe you didn't see, but
I did see
yeah,
Scream
but
4. It's the last
and
Scream I
Dances with Wolves,
watched.
yeah, Dances with Wolves. Um,
Oh, okay. Right.
uh,
Okay.
yeah. So anyway, but I remembered her specifically from this movie. So this movie was the one that. So
She's
I
very
chose
good in it. She's very good in it.
yes, yeah. So I chose Donnie Darko, which is 2001, and I also chose this movie because this movie is it's quite a I mean, if our theme is cult movies, this definitely qualifies as a cult movie. And I've always actually as because I was actually trying not to choose this movie because I thought it was maybe someone that's been kind of done too much. So I was looking everyone, I just couldn't find one that I was interested in other than this one. So I was like, oh, so I chose this one. I think because it occurs to me that I've always actually wondered what you think of this movie, and I don't think
Okay.
we've ever talked about this movie. So that's why. So I was like, okay, here's my chance to finally talk to him about this movie and see what he thinks about it. So I think it can be a divisive movie. I think so.
Are
Um,
we are we
and it, and
both
it,
are we both talking about, so I watched the director's cut, which came
Director's
out
Cut,
a few years
yes,
later in 2004.
yeah, yeah,
Is that the
yes,
one you
I do,
watched as
yeah,
well?
yes, it was, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So the 2.5 hour one, right?
Well, it's like 2 hours and 14 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost, yeah, yeah. So,
Um,
um,
because the reason I ask is just because we'll get to this towards it, but I was trying to recall, because I'm pretty sure I saw the theatrical version originally
mm,
so long
mm,
ago. But I
mm,
think I got a sense of what was kind of new in it from reading around, and
mm.
so I think maybe I can tell the difference.
Yeah, I was wondering because I'd seen this maybe twice, maybe in the early 2000s when it first came out. I think I saw it twice. Yeah, and I was trying to like, oh, because like I remember this scene, but I can't remember. I wonder if this is a new scene. I was trying to figure out which ones were the new scenes, but I guess and then I read a couple of things about maybe there's like one or two plots which were apparently cut out from the original one that is now
Right.
were reinserted and stuff. But like the whole part about the dance group or something like the kids, apparently I think that was extra or
Yes.
something. I'm
What do
not.
they call
Anyway, something.
platonic twinkle
Yeah.
or something? I doubt you.
Glitter,
What did you say? I doubt.
glitter. No,
I
what?
doubt your commitment to platonic twinkle. It is a great line.
No, what is it? No, it was glit glimmer, no, glitter, something. Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah,
It's a
whatever,
good
glimmer
name.
magic,
Good
whatever.
name. It's
So
a nice little.
yeah, it is.
It's a nice little
I was
touch.
actually I was thinking I was watching. I was like, that would be like a great like ironic, just a band name.
Mm.
Yeah, just like yeah. So, anyway, um, so yeah, anyway, 2001, written directed by Richard Kelly, who interestingly didn't really go on to do much after this.
Well, he
Uh,
did two other films which we can talk a little bit about, because I think
yeah.
it's interesting just because Richard Kelly does seem to have he's got things he likes to come back to, let's put it that way. He has like
Hmm.
yeah, he has
Yeah, I
things
mean, he wrote Domino, which was kind of that kind of dark comedy with Hal, Keira Knightley,
which was
and
rubbish, I remember.
yeah, it was terrible. And then Southland Tales
Well, he directed two more,
and
right? Southland Tales in the Box,
The Box,
based on a
and
Richard
then
Matheson novel.
and
Yeah.
The Box. I remember I saw that's the one where you push the button and you
Yes, it
kill
was an old
somebody,
Twilight
right?
Zone
Yeah, so
episode as well, wasn't it?
yeah, right, yeah. So I remember watching that. It was okay, but it was kind of like not
I'll get to that a
great,
little bit
but
later,
yeah.
because I
Yeah.
think there's a
Okay.
lot that Richard Kelly clearly has things he's interested in, and I because
Mhm.
I was wondering if he'd done anything since the box. I thought surely he must have directed something else. But no, that's the last
But no,
dramatic
that was
credit.
it. Yeah. So 2009, right?
Yeah, it's a while
I mean,
ago.
this movie I think probably got him a lot of kind of acclaim or like a lot of interest, hype around him
Yeah,
or
well, he was very
buzz.
young when
And
he
then
directed it, right? He's in his
yeah,
20s. Did some
yeah,
short
and then he did it.
films and just managed. And
Mhm.
watching it this time, I was surprised because it's a proper, like, big film with sets and
Sure.
people, streets
Yeah.
and extras and everything. In fact, this is
And
ballsy for a 20-year-old, right? To
yeah, and for
step in.
first real
Yeah,
kind of big movie. and then he does a couple other kind of rings, and then just drops off the face of the planet. So who knows what happened to him so after that? So, yeah. So interestingly, so yeah, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, which kind of sort of made, I guess, put him on the map too. I guess, right now
I think
he's
it's the first time I
yeah.
noticed him, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was all right. So he, yeah, now he's, big movie star, and Jenna Malone, and as I said, Mary McConnell,
Maggie
also his
Gyllenhaal as well.
Maggie Gyllenhaal, her sister Maggie, as Patrick Swayze, of course,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
Patrick Swayze, and also some cameos with before they were who they are with Seth Rogen is there, and was one of the bullies,
Does it
and
count as a cameo if it's before you're famous, though? Isn't it just a
and Noah
bit
Wiley.
part?
Noah Wiley, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a bit parts, yeah. Drew Barrymore also, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, no, yeah, I guess
that
it was
would
not a
certainly
cameo,
be a
but yeah.
cameo, right? Because she was
Yeah,
already,
that was
yeah,
well,
famous.
that wasn't a cameo though, because she had like a cameo
Yes.
would be kind of like a one scene, whatever. So she had like kind of a supporting role,
Guest part.
but guest part, yeah, yeah. So yeah, obviously, so but I mean the fact that this guy in his 20s in his first big movie has all these kind of like big names coming out of nowhere, and has has um has Patrick Swayze willingly portraying a pedophile. Like I was like,
Yeah,
it's pretty good. And I didn't think Patrick Swayze had enough like self.
he's pretty good.
Uh, I
It's a
I
bit
didn't think
like
he
when
was able to
Tom.
kind of he's able to put himself in that kind of a character. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So I
it
didn't
was a
think he
bit
had.
like when Tom Cruise did Magnolia, right?
Yeah, exactly. I had the exact same thing. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
same idea.
and
So yeah.
effective to the point that when Patrick Swayze died, I did actually
Mm.
slightly mix up reality in this film, and I was like, "Was Patrick Swayze ever accused of being a pedo?" And yeah, but no, it's a testament
Yeah.
to because he's not in it much, but and again he doesn't seem to be doing much, but
Uh,
it's a good part for him actually. He's really
yeah, it
quite
is. Yeah,
good in
yeah.
it somehow. He's
He's got
very
this good
convincing.
this like he's got his charisma that he needs it for that
Yes,
kind of character. Yeah,
yes.
so yeah, so and you
Self-help
can buy that
guru.
these people have bought into his shit, right? So
Yes,
and yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, so just quick I don't know how I'm gonna explain this story.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I don't know necessarily if we have to even. I mean, we can do so I suppose the best way to go about it is to explain who Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal's character is, right? So he's a kind of a somewhat troubled teenager from a
mm,
very middle class family who, are somewhat dysfunctional. They argue and stuff, whatever. But basically, they seem to be quite
mm,
a tight unit,
sure.
and
Yeah.
he's on or may not be on medication, going to a therapist, and we hear that he's been in trouble in the past, like I
Mm,
cause it like destruction or he's an
mm,
arsonist or something like that, and it's basically him trying to figure his way. And yeah, Jenna Malone is this new girl in
mm,
school, and he's going. So it's very much a coming of age film, right?
sure.
It's
Yeah.
a coming of
But it's
age
also
film,
this kind of
but
like
yeah,
also this time travel kind of science fiction-y horror thriller kind of elements put on top of it,
well,
right?
yeah. So this is
Where
yeah,
he's he's possibly schizophrenic and seeing this kind of bunny who is telling him to do the bad things and whatever,
yes, Frank
and
the rabbit,
uh,
right?
Frank the
Man in a
rabbit, who's this
scary
4 foot
rabbit
tall
costume. Yeah,
giant rabbit costume, and he's seeing like these kind of like water kind of things coming out, which are actually supposed to be telling the future as to where the people are going to go and stuff like that.
right,
And so there's this one character who's this kind of old lady who keeps checking her mailbox, who they call Grandma Death, who apparently wrote a book about the stuff that he's seeing, years ago and stuff. So it's all kind of tying together, and at the same time, there's a airplane engine that falls into his room that he
right.
just happened to sleepwalk and miss for some reason, yeah, and so they're not sure where the airplane came from. It's just this mysterious engine, and then so that it turns out at the end that there's some kind of
It
time
came from that
travel
Chris
portal
Christopherson
thing.
movie Millennium. Do you remember that, where a plane goes through a wormhole or
Oh
something?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Or it was Snakes on the Plane. Yeah. Uh,
Or
so
is it the
yeah, so
Langoliers? Is that the one where the plane?
Langoliers, yes,
Yeah.
Langoliers, yes, yeah, yeah. I still think about the Langoliers every time I'm on an airplane. So yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
it's interesting. Yeah, so I read
Are
that
they
because I
are
read
they
that book.
making
So
a new Langoliers, or did I make that up? Did I read that somewhere?
No idea.
of that.
Probably Hollywood's out of ideas, so they just redo everything, right? So they were making The Long Walk though, so we're gonna go
Yes,
see that, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Speaking of Stephen King as well,
yeah.
someone is reading it at one point, and also
Oh
in
yes.
school, Drew Barrymore's teaching the Graham Greene story, The Destructors short story, which I never read, and I was wondering if it was significant. So I went online and I read it. I
Mm.
found it online. It's a very short story. It's like, yeah, just a few pages. I don't see it having any particular significance on this film, but fuck, is that a
Mm.
good short story?
Oh really? I've
Yeah.
never read it, so
Yeah,
yeah.
Graham Greene. If
It's
you
good.
just
Okay,
type in
I'll
Graham
see.
Greene Destructors, it'll send you. There's a few places you can
Mm.
read it online. It's a
Okay, yeah,
phenomenal little short story I never read
yeah,
before. It's really great.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to read it. Yeah. So, yeah, and then it gets banned, in the movie and
Yes,
stuff,
and
right? So,
replaced with
yeah,
Watership Down, right?
Watership Down. Yes.
Yes, which again is
Yeah.
also kind of an interesting choice. I don't know if it's significant, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it strikes me Richard Kelly's not a
I'm
man who just puts things in by accident.
yeah, I'm sure there's some significance for him at least. Yeah. So I don't know
Yeah,
if it's obvious,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So yeah. So what did you make of Donnie Darko this time?
Well, you want me to go first, do you? Okay, so
Sure.
we should mention as well, I suppose the other thing that it's alluding to as well is Harvey, right? The film where
Oh
James
yes, yes,
Stewart
of
has
course.
a giant
Sure. The
rabbit
giant, yeah, seeing the
imaginary
giant
friend.
bunny. Yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
right. So, but this one is
Um,
more of like a homicidal, telling him to do bad things, like burn down the guy's house and
right.
and kill people and stuff, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting one. When you chose this, I was like, huh, that's interesting because I haven't seen this in like 20, over 20 years or whatever.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I remember it coming out and it almost immediately being a major cult hipster film, right?
Sure. Yeah, yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about Donnie Darko, even though it didn't do very good box office, I don't think.
I
Um,
think it was one of those ones that sort of found its feet in VHS rentals and stuff like
yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Mm.
I remember finding it interesting when it was new, thinking it was ever so slightly overrated by those hipsters, but generally liking it and finding it quite interesting. I think what
Mm.
surprised and going back to it, I was kind of thinking it might not have dated well. What kind of surprised
Mm.
me was I think I might like it more now.
Ah.
And also what struck me this time as well was I think the first time, and I this is the thing I was trying to gauge watching the theatrical cut or the director's cut, but I think maybe it doesn't make a difference, maybe. But the other thing I remember about when it first came out, it was one of those films that was a talking point, like, oh, what's it about, or like
Ah.
what's the meaning or what's the
What does that
key to
mean?
the
What is it?
puzzle or something like
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
And this time watching it, I was none of that. I didn't think. For me, this time I might be wrong, but the way I read it this time is very much a coming of age drama, a
Mm.
kind of someone
Mm.
troubled, maybe like a young artist or something like that, just
Mm.
trying to figure out and basically creating all this drama totally in his own head. And I could
Yeah.
relate to this,
Mm.
like everything, like I'm not sure what actually happens in real life and what happens in his head, and it doesn't matter
Sure.
because it's all
Sure.
just playing in his head. He might
Mm.
die, he might not die. This might just be an
Mm.
extended daydream.
Uh,
And also this time I was struck what kind of bounced off me the first time I watched it, I think, was how important the school stuff is. Like, because it's a coming of age,
uh,
like this film really takes all these, like there's all these views of you and just looks at school life like, what the fuck? This is weird. What are they doing? What are they like? It really it's very much it understands the coming of age teenager inside
mm.
out, I think.
Sure.
So
I
I
mean,
think
I
that's
think
the
the
thing that
guy
struck
Richard
me
Kelly
this
was
time.
was just out of teenage years himself, right? I guess
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
that.
So
So
maybe it was
yeah, yeah,
a bit
yeah.
too close to it or something. But it felt to
Mm.
me that yeah, that we should move it from the cult, what's this all about, sub David Lynch category, and actually just put
Mm.
in the no, it's a coming of age film,
Coming of age.
but with kind of weird. I tell you a strange example, but it might be like a more serious, less comical version of Say Anything. You know
Hmm.
the John Cusack film?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
It struck me a bit
This one,
because yeah,
this one. Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's sorry, not say anything. No, sorry. I'm wondering why you looked at me
I was
stupid.
like, yeah, I didn't get.
I
I was
chose the
like,
wrong John. What I meant was Better Off Dead.
better off dead. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yes, because that's very much a coming of age story. Very much Savage Steve Holland understands the coming of age thing, but it's quirky, right? But that's more
Sure.
comical. I think Donnie Darko
Right.
is similar, but it's more serious rather than it is.
Serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Does that
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of make sense? I only thought of that now off the
Yeah.
top of my head.
Sure. Yeah. 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 I haven't seen Better Off Dead in years, so I'd have to rewatch that to get
No, me
the
neither.
connection, really.
It
But
just came to me
yeah.
now that that's a kind of might be an interesting double bill.
Yeah. Mm. You can choose it next week, next episode.
No, I've already chosen next week's one, so yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. Oh, ooh, uh-oh.
Uh, but yeah. So before I hand it over to you, yeah, no, just about the director's cut thing as well. From what I was reading around, and I sensed as well, like I sensed, I think that he might try and spell things out a bit too much in the director's cut, right? Like there's a bit more emphasis on this is in the time travel book and stuff like that. I feel as if watching it the first time, it was a little less kind of enmeshed and linked, so it was slightly more random events,
Right.
and I think that probably works. I guess I'd have to go back and watch, but I think the theatrical cut might be preferable to the director's cut this time. I don't know. Yeah. How about you? What kind of journey did you go on? Oh, did I just say that? What kind
Yeah,
of
so
journey did you go on with this film?
well, Clive, it's funny that you should mention that. Um, yeah, I don't know. This was an old favorite of mine, so that's why I was kind of like, I didn't want to just revisit another movie that I liked in the past. But sometimes it's to be sometimes there's something to be said for revisiting movies that you liked in the past and seeing if they hold
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I think sometimes that's more interesting than just watching a new movie because
sometimes, yeah.
like
If the
you can
timing is
actually
right,
kind of
right? Yeah.
the timing is right and you can compare who you are in those two time periods and all that. So, but I'd say in general, and again, I didn't know exactly what was added in. I think I saw a couple of things after I finished the thing. Oh, that was added in or that was taken. I was like, but it's funny because I had memories of watching that. So I'm not sure if I saw the director's cut when it came out in 2004 or not, because I didn't, there was nothing in this movie that didn't feel familiar to me. So
No, there's
like,
nothing overtly like, oh, I've never seen that before. It's a lot of little
right.
things, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, little things. And I think they were just kind of like fleshed out more information about each little elements. So
Mm.
it didn't feel totally new. So I don't know how much was added or what parts of it, but anyway, but yeah, I think it still held up pretty interestingly. Like, yeah, I think the first time you watch it when it came out in 2001, everyone was like, well, what's the meaning of this? What do you think the meaning is? And I remember
Right.
I had this, I was dead set. I was sure I knew what it all meant at the time. I remember, I'm sure, just like everybody, I'm sure everybody had their theories. And my theory, I remember at the time was that he was in his bed at the ending when the airplane engine
Mm.
came through his ceiling, and the whole thing was like flashing through his head in the
Yeah,
moments before he
that
got killed.
works.
So which works, I think at the same. But I think at this time there's more to do with like this, like a time travel, like is like because the mother and the daughter are on that plane, and then it get whipped up by that storm, and then you see the engine come off, and then it comes through his window, and then that they go back in time to when he was, and originally he had sleepwalked, but he didn't, and that's why he was laughing because he had reset time and then killed himself by resetting time, and it was yeah. So it was a different element, and I don't know if it was because of where I am or because of other stuff that was added in, so I'm not exactly sure. But so anyway, I read something else about it, and they're explaining that it was like that the mother and the daughter's plane went down, and then the airplane from that went through a time portal and then killed Donnie back in the past or something. So whatever. So
But also, like you were saying as well, though,
mm,
I
mm,
I kind of I almost like that interpretation more.
yeah,
That I can just imagine the story is as simple as he's in bed, he's just finished jerking off about the new girl at school who he's seen, but she hasn't seen him yet. So that's in his mind.
yeah,
he's also been thinking about that crazy woman. He read some science fiction book. It's all mixed up in his head. He's just a daydream,
Sure.
and suddenly a plane lands on him and kills him. Like that
Yeah.
works too, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. But I guess and I think that's what's interesting about this movie is that it doesn't really matter, right? I mean,
No,
and I think
no, no.
I think it's a better movie when you let that go, when you're not trying to figure out what's happening, that you just kind of go with the ride. Because I think it's very atmospheric. I think it's really good. I think it's best when it tries to get the atmosphere down. Because I mean,
Right.
yeah, I think he's for a 20 something director, first time really director, he really knows how to get atmosphere. I think I was really taken back by specifically by the atmosphere of the movie, that you're like it's very like um it's absorbing, even though it's quite
It
long,
is.
right?
It is.
So yeah, so
And
um
also, he's got the casting right. Like the thing is, I
mm,
mean, that's the other thing I was wondering. Jake Gyllenhaal is the perfect Donnie Darko, really. And sometimes when
mm,
someone knocks it out of the park, like at that young age, and you go back and revisit it, it can maybe feel like a little obnoxious or something.
mm,
But no, 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 absolutely. And to have seen that in him, I think
mm,
is notable, right? That he cast it so
sure.
well, right? Not just him,
Mm,
but clearly he's front and center. If you fuck that up, then the film doesn't work at all. But
doesn't work exactly.
he's perfect casting because he is likable, he is charming, but he is a fuck up, and he's a bit of a but he's not like he's 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 one of the more believable teenage protagonists on screen, isn't he?
Sure.
Um, yeah, he's because it treads that line as well of like, oh, I'm the misunderstood genius. But no, he's not the misunderstood genius
Yeah.
either. He's also just,
Yeah.
a fuck up, and
I understand.
yeah, and he may have mental health issues. He might not. He might just be kind of acting out and being a bit of a dick. Um, but
Yeah.
but I believe him in everything that he does, right? And I believe
Sure.
he
Mm,
believes him, and yeah, at no point did he ever cross the line into like him being an obnoxious character, but at the same time, it's not. It, sometimes he can be obnoxious, right? He's not afraid to
mm,
go there, and other things as well. I'm wondering if there's a thing we might have lost a little bit because we become slightly oversensitive. Like some of his school friend characters, right, are fucking horrible,
mm,
right? And the thing is, teenagers are fucking horrible. In
mm.
particular, there's a Chinese character, right? There's the Chinese girl,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
boy,
yeah,
whatever, and who just
yeah,
yells "shut up" at everyone, right? And they're
yeah.
constantly saying horrible things to her.
Horrible thing story.
But
Yeah, you feel
that
so
is
bad for
what
her.
some teenage boys do. That's and girls.
Yes,
Actually. That's
and girls.
that's
Yeah.
not unrealistic, right? So I
Yeah.
appreciated that. Like if you made that now, I don't think you'd have that stuff in it in a big mainstream thing.
Yeah.
They
Or it would
pull
be
back on that.
more, I think, because I think in general there's no really kind of resolution to that story. So I think it
No,
doesn't, yeah. So, and I think that's what wouldn't happen now. I think they would have that storyline, but they would have some sort of like she would get her comeuppance, or someone, or the Donnie Darko would, the protagonist would apologize for the way he treated her, or there would be some sort of
right,
finish,
right.
finishing that. But this one was just sort of like they treated like shit, and then that's the end.
Yeah,
She goes off
which
her merry way,
unfortunately
right? So
is kind of quite realistic, right?
yeah, but he does say at one point, he goes, "Someday things are going to be better for you." So
Yeah, which
that's
is near as
kind
they
of,
get, right? But just freaks
yeah,
her
as
out.
near as they get.
But
Yeah,
it's true. Bullied kids
yeah,
very rarely get to
mm,
confront their
sure.
bullies
They're
and get
bully.
an
Yeah,
apology or anything, right?
mm,
No, 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 no. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I was never bullied at school. Uh, however, there was like one,
Really?
yeah, there was one kid who I remember once wanted to beat me up a little. He never did. But to this day, I'm not frightened of him, but if I went back home and saw him, I think I'd like probably avoid him. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Because it's in there, right? It's
right.
he's a
Yeah.
menace in my brain
Mm,
because he
right.
was the kind of scary. He was one of those scary bullies who really didn't give a fuck about getting into trouble. So you have
Mm.
to be careful. Like he would maybe pull a knife on you or something like that.
Agents of Chaos or whatever.
Yeah, and he for some reason actually, it happened twice. Another kid as well decided to focus on me for like a week, and I kept hearing, "Oh, he's gonna kill you. He's gonna beat you up," and then decided at the last minute he didn't want to. And then there was this other one, and he never did come after me. But I think that's just because school ended.
Mm, I
Sorry,
see.
little tangent there.
Good story.
Yeah,
And then a tiger came through.
that's right. That's right.
So
Very end.
so so you had a guy who wanted to beat you up, but he didn't
Yep.
at the end. Okay,
It's a hell of a
okay,
story.
good, great.
I'm saving it.
Yeah.
That was a little. You're lucky you got that. I'm just saving that for my memoirs.
Okay, great. Yeah, but I think in general, it's still the movie still holds up. I was happy to revisit it and watch it again. You know, I was kind of like,
Had your
do I want to
relation
watch
to
this
it
movie
had it
again?
changed at all? Because obviously I
I
had a
don't
very different take on it the second time. Had it changed for you
I
at
don't think
all?
so. No, I don't think so. I think I just enjoyed it, and I was kind of like, I was trying to kind of like reflect on how am I feelings different about this? Am I in a different place in my life? And I am in a different place in my life. Am I, receiving it differently or anything? But I don't think so. I think it was, I think it's still just like I agree it's a coming of age drama, but I still appreciated all of it, kind of like the weird stuff and the supernatural kind of possible
So
stuff.
from
And
the
but,
beginning, you
I just took it as it went. I
right.
appreciated it. I just liked
So
it.
that
Yeah,
from the beginning, you always kind of
it was
took
tight.
the other stuff as somewhat peripheral, feeding into the.
I don't
I
think
mean,
I did in the first time, but I think yeah, it was definitely less important this time, or at least I was less trying to figure it out this time. I think I would just sort of like let
yes,
it happen this time. I
yes,
think that's what
exactly.
it is. So
I don't think
yeah,
there
yeah,
was
yeah,
like, I remember we might,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Richard Kelly might actually have it all
yeah.
mapped out.
Quite
So
possibly,
we'll
yeah,
get
yeah.
into him a little bit. Before with that though, did you
Mm,
ever? Because I
yeah.
never did. Did you ever see S. Darko, the sequel?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't know it existed until I watched it this time, and I went back and I was like, oh, there was a sequel, but of course it had nothing to do with Richard Kelly. He had
No,
nothing to do
no.
with it.
Pretty much
So
everyone washed
so
their hands of
and
it,
it got
apart from Davy
and it got
Chase returns, right? The
it
one
got
of the sister.
panned.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So
No,
yeah, it got quite
I never
quite panned. Yeah,
fancied it, and I never got around to it, and I don't think
yeah.
I'm going to this time either.
Didn't sound like something that I would appreciate that much.
No.
Yeah, it seems like someone who was trying to capitalize on the success of this movie, but probably didn't really understand it
Well,
in
yeah,
the
but
first place.
like 9 years later as well. But
Yeah.
like you said, I suppose in those days it was still at the very end of that period where things still there was a slow burn element to something on VHS or something, which is doesn't really happen that much anymore, right?
Right. Yeah.
But still, it seems a little bit late in the game
Mm.
to be doing a a sequel. Like I don't know, I'd have to watch it, I suppose, to get a handle on it. But what I mean is, it doesn't seem like someone had like a take, like, oh, I've got a
Uh,
great idea. It just does seem
yeah.
like a weird, but it's not even a good cash in. Like a cash in would be Donnie Darko 2, right? Not
Yeah.
S
Sure.
Darko, this kind of weird
Uh,
allusion to it
well,
or something.
well, I mean, S. Darko came from the movie where she like signed she had like a letter S. Darko. So I think it was my impression because it was called S. Darko. Two impressions. One was that it was like a fanboy who is, I'm
Right.
going to do it like this so that only other fanboys will also know what I'm referring to and where it's coming from because
Uh-huh.
it's a kind of a deep cut from the movie. That was my guess, and which is why he chose that rather than Donnie Darko 2. And possibly there was also probably legal issues where maybe the studio owned the name of the movie, and that
Maybe.
it was because it was completely unsupported. Maybe he just did it independently and then wasn't allowed to call it that or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. So because it was not a official
But
sequel, so I don't know.
it is one of those like almost anything big cult film that has
Mm.
dodgy sequels at this point, you'll find
Mm.
apologists for the sequel, right? You'll find
Sure.
someone
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
convince you,
Probably.
no, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is the best of the series or whatever the fuck, right? There's always someone who Jason Takes Manhattan is clearly the masterpiece,
Mm.
and
Yeah. Of
I
course.
never hear anyone ever mention Estarco. Ever.
Well, I think that's because it wasn't. It wasn't like. like everyone else had nothing to do with it, right? So
I
I think if
guess.
Jake Gyllenhaal was in it, it would have been more kind of noticed and kind of held
Right.
up to the light too.
I
But I
didn't
think
even look
because
it
it
up
was just
who stands in for Jake Gyllenhaal. I didn't, or if it's a
does
even a,
someone.
or is it a total side story, different character? Or...
I just assumed it was a side story, but yeah, who I don't know. I didn't really even look up anything about it other than the fact that it was really, really low rated.
Hey,
Um,
Ron,
yeah.
I have a suggestion.
Uh-huh.
Next time, as well
Uh-huh.
as both our choices, let's watch Darko.
All right.
Shall
Sure.
we?
Um, it looks like according to the I'm just looking up the summary. It looks like she's on a road trip with her friends. So
Okay,
I
well,
think it has none of her family.
don't tell me, don't look it
Yeah.
up. We're gonna watch it.
Okay.
You
All right.
agree?
Sure. I'll watch it.
Yeah,
Sure. I'll
okay.
watch it. Yeah.
Just because
All right.
we're all this kind of supposition, just fuck it, let's just watch it and we extra little
Sure.
bonus feature where we watch
All right.
Darko. It's not our official choice, but yeah.
Sure. But we'll watch it anyway. So
Yeah.
okay.
All right, cool. Yeah, so Richard Kelly, he makes Southland Tales and the
Mm.
box. You see that? Did you see Southland Tales?
I didn't see Silent Taste, but I saw the
If I
box.
remember correctly, it's a very early role for The Rock, I think, isn't it? I think he's in it.
Oh, was it?
Unless
Okay.
I'm getting confused with something else. I think that was the one. Southland Tales was like a very, again, very even more ambitious, like a very sprawling, multi-story. Yeah, there we go. Dwayne Johnson was in it.
Oh yeah.
Sarah
And
McKell
Sarah Michelle
Gellar.
Gellar and Sean William Scott.
I remember it being a massive flop.
Curtis Arm Oh, Booger was in it.
Yeah,
Curtis
yeah, yeah,
Armstrong.
yeah, yeah. It was a massive flop. No one much liked it, but everyone was agreed that at least he tried something, if you see
Ah,
what I mean. So it was. I suppose it would be his version of trying to be like a big I don't know, like a mixture of like a Robert Altman film with multi
yeah.
characters and stuff, but like with more like blockbuster actiony kind of stuff in there. Maybe I seem to remember there was like, a
Mm.
certain amount of action, maybe. But it wasn't very good. But I remember the box was kind of interesting because there was a lot of Donnie Darko in it, right? If I remember, there was, I think
Ah.
the water thing, what
Oh, was it? Okay,
I
yeah.
think that
I
was in there.
haven't
There was
seen
like,
it and I couldn't remember.
and there was a lot to do with time wormholes and time travel and this
Mm.
person being there and person being there in a bed, and there was a I remember it being a bit of a greatest hits of Donnie Darko
Mm.
via this Richard Matheson Twilight Zone story, and I remember
Ah,
seeing it and thinking, oh, Richard Kelly's got things, he's got hang-ups, he's got things that he returns to again and again that he's fascinated with.
sure. Yeah.
And I always thought like, oh well, it's not like I like the box more than Southland Tales, even though it felt like a bit of a rerun of Donnie Darko stuff. But I remember thinking like, oh, when he grows up and matures and he keeps doing films, there's a good chance Richard Kelly might become a really interesting filmmaker.
Mm.
And then he didn't. So
And then he just
yeah,
retired. Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
also was a bit disappointed. I kind of like to have seen what he would have, because
Yeah.
I'm guessing he would have worked through that phase and got that out of
Mm.
his system and moved on to something else, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. But I guess we'll never know. Yeah. I know. I wonder what he's doing now.
Yeah,
Mm.
who knows? He might have a new thing, in production as we speak,
Yeah. He's a lawyer.
or makes bagels. He could be
Yeah.
doing
Could
anything.
be.
He could be your neighbor on.
Could be. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just never bumped into him.
That's him. That's him. And my neighbor behind me.
Is he that Italian guy? Maybe he's pretending to be
The
Italian.
Italian guy. Maybe he's the
Yeah,
Italian guy, but yeah, he's the Italian
yeah,
guy that
with
lives
his
behind me.
broad Italian accent.
Hey, how's it going?
Once again,
That's how he talks
apologies
to
to
me.
all Italians,
No, that was a direct,
especially
exact
Richard Kelly.
imitation of him.
Um, so yeah, so next time we will both be what's the word? Responding to Donnie Darko.
Hmm.
Plus,
Can I take a guess? Are you going to choose Brokeback Mountain?
no. Although if you wanted to choose that, I'd be happy to because I've never seen it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I thought
And we're doing S Darko.
that's Darko.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Any final words?
It's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let me just write that down. It's good yun yun. That's one for the ages.
Yeah. The
I'll
only
say it too.
thing
It's good yun yun.
I have lots of people. No, the only thing I'm short of is people. So I don't know.
I like it's good yun yun better.
Yin yin is better.
So
Yeah, yin yin.
until next
Yin
time,
yin.
yin
Yin
yin.
yin.